Hey everybody, it's Pete from MyJewelryBench.com, and today we're going to work on this Swiss pocket watch. Now this pocket watch I believe is from the early 1900s, and there are some issues with the mainspring barrel, but I have serviced the watch completely, and I didn't actually video record myself doing the service, but when I was working on the mainspring barrel, that's when I found some serious issues. So today what we're going to do is convert this mainspring barrel to accept a standard US 0 size mainspring so that it can continue to work and have an easy mainspring to replace in the future. Let's get started. So here you can see the mainspring barrel before I actually did any modifications to it, and the barrel itself I did clean out, but I've tried to notch out there's a little catch on the inside of the barrel, and I'm going to show it to you here in a second. You can see it there just at the where my index finger is. That catch no longer holds the original mainspring, nor does it work with any replacements that will work with that. The brass itself has gotten soft over the years, and although I've tried to re-notch it to accept a better mainspring for this particular model, it's just not working. So what I've done is I've sourced out the 0 size Elgin. This spring is a good fit. It's the same strength as the original. It's about 1 inch longer, which may or may not make a difference, but we're going to try to seat this in this barrel. To do that, I have to make some modifications to this barrel. So what I'm going to do to accept that little T-bar end is I'm going to put a couple little holes, or I'm going to actually make one hole and then elongate it so that that little T-bar end of the mainspring will seat into the barrel correctly. And that way we can get this watch powered. Now I use these drill bits, I buy them on Amazon, but you can get them pretty much anywhere. I typically use these for jewelry. They do come in handy when you're working with parts like brass. So I'm going to take a small blade bit and I'm going to start notching a hole in this. Now, I believe I bought a 50 pack of these blades on Amazon for like $20, so they're worth having. They do come in handy if you're a jeweler. They work really well for pearls if you need to drill or ream out a pearl. They do really good with gold, silver, and definitely with brass. They are very delicate, so be careful, and if you're not careful when you're holding the piece, you could drill into your finger, which don't ask me how I know. So here you can see I'm going to start that little hole, and I'm just going to let the drill bit do the cutting. I'm not applying much pressure at all. It's always a good idea to lube up your drill bits. I will either use some candle wax or some burr lube. Burr lube you can get any jewelry supply house, and that works really good to keeping the bit oiled and lubricated so that it doesn't burn up and get brittle. Again, just apply very little pressure. You don't want to break that bit inside the brass because it'll be a nightmare to get out if you do. So here you can see I'm just going to lubing it up with a little bit of candle wax, and I'll just continue drilling that hole up. Again, just let the drill bit do the work, and as soon as it breaks through, you'll know it. Brass is pretty soft, especially this brass from the Swiss watches. Swiss watches before 1940 were not made very well. It's kind of a misconception. Most people think that Swiss make the best watches in the world forever and ever, and no, they didn't. French watches, Swiss watches, a lot of British watches made before 1900 were actually made very poorly. They did look good. I will say, especially some of the French watches, they were made to look very, very nice, very decorative pieces, where American watches were typically utilitarian. But they worked really good and they were very durable. So here you can see I'm just fitting the spring notch. I just want to see how long I have to make that hole and ream it out. And what I'll do is I'll grab that same drill bit and I'm just going to kind of use it as a saw blade. These drill bits are very sharp and they'll cut through this brass real easy. So you don't want to go too far. Don't apply any pressure. Just let the drill bit do a little cutting. And you can see it elongates that hole out pretty well. And now I can get that notch of the mainspring to sit into that little hole that we made. And that's what we want, because that's what's going to hold the mainspring in place. Okay, so now I've seated the mainspring into the barrel, and once we've got that done, we're just going to check and see how that notch fits, and I'll show you here in a second. We're going to flip this over, take a look at that notch end. And you can see where it protrudes from the barrel, and I'll freeze frame it here so you can see it. It's just a perfect fit to hold that spring in place, and that's what we want because that's what supplies the power to the mainspring barrel. Okay, so once that's done, we have to move on to the next step, which is to get the arbor pinion in there. Now this arbor is a good seat for this watch. Just like American watches, it does have a keyed side to it. The key side goes face down into the movement as you're reassembling, so keep that in mind. We got the cap on now, so the barrel cap is in place. The spring fits good. I've oiled it, and it's ready to go back into the watch. So when I took this watch apart after I did a full test, you can see that it's got one bridge that holds most of the train in place, and we have to get that winding gear, the clutch wheel back in place. So we'll get that done. And now this is the winding gear for the mainspring, and it is keyed. And I do put a little oil on these so that they can sit good when I flip them over and nothing falls out. So here you can see I'm putting the bridge back on. I've got it partially screwed in and all the pinions are in the right place. So we're going to tighten this down, make sure that everything is good, and get that last screw in place. And I'm going to put a little pressure on the mainspring barrel just to see if the watch starts working. And there it goes. That's a good sign. That means the train is in complete freedom and it will work good. Now I'm going to loosen up the clutch system so that we can put the stem in. We're actually going to case this watch now and get it set up correctly in the case. Now this is a removable stem. A lot of American watches, you know, they stay in the case unless you pull them out or unscrew them. Once that stem's back in, we'll screw down the clutch and we'll give it a wind. And here you can see it's working pretty good. So this spring, because it's not the original spring for the watch, and I can't get an original spring for this particular watch, we're going to see how well it times out. So we're going to run it for a few days and make sure that it keeps time and adjust any timing issues that we have. The next thing I want to do is put some case screws in this. This watch didn't have case screws. I was able to find a couple of case screws that fit well enough to hold the movement in place. Once that's done, we can put the back cover back on the watch. Now this is a Bakelite front and back cover. Unfortunately, it's a little bit loose, so I'm going to see if I can do something to tighten that up on the back cover. Now I've got the hand set and the watch is all back together again, and now it's time to let this go, and we'll see how well it runs for the next few days, and if it runs well, we're going to ship it back to the customer. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to my channel. I do put up any videos on Blender and jewelry design as well as watch repairs. Thanks for watching and have a great day.